A billionaire was stunned to see his ex-girlfriend in sorrow. What happened next was truly unexpected. No one could have predicted what happened that autumn day at Harvard University. The prestigious institution had seen countless stories unfold within its historic walls, but none quite like the tale of Jaden Matthew and Anna Harris. The morning had started like any other. Students rushing to classes, leaves dancing across the ancient courtyards, and the usual buzz of academic life filling the air. Jaden clutched his worn backpack tighter as he navigated the crowded hallway. A scholarship student from a modest background, he had learned to blend into the background of Harvard's wealthy elite. But fate had other plans that day. The moment Anna Harris walked into Professor Mitchell's advanced economics class, something shifted in the universe. Daughter of billionaire Rob Harris, Anna possessed the kind of effortless grace that came from a lifetime of privilege. Yet there was something different about her, a genuine warmth that set her apart from her privileged peers. "Is this seat taken?" she had asked, gesturing to the empty chair beside Jaden. Her smile held no trace of the condescension he'd come to expect from students of her social standing. "No, it's free," he managed to reply, trying to hide his surprise. As Professor Mitchell droned on about market equilibrium, Jaden found himself stealing glances at Anna. She took meticulous notes, her brow furrowed in concentration. When she caught him looking, instead of turning away, she smiled. That simple smile would change both their lives forever, though neither could have known it then. As they packed up their books after class, Anna surprised him again. "Would you like to grab coffee?" she asked. "I could use help understanding the elasticity concepts." Little did they know, someone was watching their interaction with growing concern. In his towering office downtown, Rob Harris had eyes and ears everywhere, keeping tabs on his only daughter. The report of her conversation with a scholarship student would reach his desk by nightfall. The seeds of an impossible love story were planted that day, one that would shake Boston's social hierarchy to its core. But at that moment, they were just two students heading to the campus cafe, their hearts light with the possibility of new friendship. No one could have predicted the storms that lay ahead, the betrayals, the rise and fall of fortunes, and the ultimate triumph of love over prejudice. But then again, the best stories often begin in the most innocent of ways. As they walked across the quad together, autumn leaves swirling around their feet, destiny was already setting its wheels in motion. The game of love, power, and redemption was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same. The weeks that followed their first meeting saw Jaden and Anna growing closer, their study sessions becoming longer, their conversations deeper. What started as simple discussions about economics had evolved into sharing dreams, fears, and aspirations. The social chasm between them seemed to narrow with each passing day. "Tell me about your family," Anna said one evening as they sat in the library's quiet corner. The setting sun cast long shadows through the Gothic windows, creating an intimate atmosphere. Jaden hesitated, then spoke softly. "It's just my mom and me. She works 2 jobs to help support my dreams of education. Harvard, it's everything to us." Anna reached across the table, touching his hand gently. The gesture was simple, but charged with meaning. "Your mother must be incredible," she said, her eyes full of admiration. But their bubble of happiness couldn't last forever. Whispers began circulating through Harvard's elite social circles. The Prince of Poverty and the Princess of Privilege. Their friendship was becoming the subject of gossip and speculation. "You shouldn't care what they think," Jaden said one day, noticing Anna's discomfort at the stares they received. "I don't," she replied, but her voice wavered slightly. "It's just my father. He has certain expectations." The mention of Rob Harris hung between them like a storm cloud. They both knew that sooner or later they would have to face the reality of their different worlds. Their study sessions began attracting attention from Anna's usual social circle. Her friend Victoria, daughter of another Boston elite, pulled her aside one day. "Darling, you need to be careful," Victoria warned. "People are talking. Your father's reputation. But Anna cut her off. Jaden is brilliant and kind. Why should anything else matter? As winter approached, their feelings for each other grew stronger, becoming impossible to ignore. Yet both felt the weight of impending doom, like watching storm clouds gather on the horizon. No one who saw them together could deny the genuine connection they shared. But in the world of old money and social hierarchies, genuine connections often took a back seat to family expectations and social obligations. One evening, as they walked through the snowy campus, Anna made a decision that would set in motion a chain of events neither could have anticipated. "I want you to meet my father," she said suddenly. Jaden stopped walking, snow falling softly around them. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she replied, her voice firm despite her racing heart. "It's time." Little did they know, this decision would change their lives forever, setting them on a path that would test their love, their courage, and their very souls. The Harris mansion loomed before Jaden like a fortress, its grand architecture a stark reminder of the world he was about to enter. His best suit, borrowed from his roommate, felt stiff and foreign against his skin. The doorman's scrutinizing gaze made his heart sink, but he straightened his shoulders, remembering his mother's words. "Your worth isn't in your wallet, but in your character." Anna was waiting in the foyer, a vision in blue. Her smile gave him courage, but the tension in her shoulders told him she was just as nervous. The click of expensive shoes on marble announced Rob Harris's arrival before he appeared. "So," Rob's voice echoed through the vast entrance hall, "you're the young man my daughter has been spending so much time with." The next hour was an exercise in subtle degradation. Every question Rob asked was designed to highlight the gulf between their worlds. Where did Jaden's family summer? They didn't. What club did his father belong to? He had no father. Each answer seemed to add another brick to the wall Rob was building between them. "Father," Anna interjected, seeing Jaden's discomfort. "Jaden is top of our class. His research paper on economic theory was published in—" Yes, Rob waved dismissively. "Very impressive for someone of his background." The word background carried the weight of generations of social prejudice. Jaden felt each subtle jab, each raised eyebrow, each dismissive gesture like physical blows, but he maintained his composure. "Sir," Jaden spoke up, his voice steady despite his racing heart, "I understand your concerns, but my feelings for Anna are genuine, and my ambitions—" "Ambitions?" Rob's laugh was cold. "Young man, let me be clear. Whatever ambitions you have involving my daughter, I suggest you forget them." Anna's gasp echoed through the room. "Father." "Anna, enough." Rob's tone was final. "Mr. Matthew, I believe we're done here. Jenkins will show you out." As the butler appeared, Jaden caught one last glimpse of Anna's tear-streaked face before being ushered out into the cold evening air. What he didn't see was Rob's next move, a phone call that would set in motion events that would change everything. "Yes, get me the dean's office," Rob spoke into his phone. "I need to discuss something about the scholarship program." The seeds of destruction had been planted, and the storm that would tear Jaden and Anna apart was brewing on the horizon. The weeks following the disastrous meeting with Rob Harris brought changes that no one could have anticipated. Suddenly, Jaden's professors became more critical, his assignments received harsher grades, and whispers followed him through the hallways. Anna noticed the change, too. "Something's wrong," she said one day, finding Jaden in their usual study spot. His usually neat notes were scattered, his eyes shadowed with worry. "I'm fine," he insisted, but they both knew it was a lie. His scholarship was under review, his academic standing questioning. The brilliant student who had never scored below an A was suddenly struggling to maintain passing grades. "This isn't right," Anna declared, her voice trembling with anger. "I know my father's behind this. I'll talk to him, "No," Jaden cut her off. "That'll only make things worse." He didn't tell her about the warning he'd received. Stay away from Anna, or lose everything he'd worked for. But the final blow came in the form of an envelope. His scholarship had been revoked due to academic performance concerns. The words blurred before his eyes as he read them again and again. That same day, Anna received news of her own. Her father had arranged her engagement to Walter Morrison, son of his biggest business partner. The announcement would be made at the upcoming charity gala. "I won't do it," she told her father, tears streaming down her face. "I love Jaden." "Love?" Rob scoffed. "You're 21. What do you know about love? Walter is suitable. He's from our world. This isn't up for discussion." That night, as Jaden packed his meager belongings into his worn backpack, a knock came at his door. It was Anna, her face pale but determined. "We can fight this," she whispered. "Together. I don't care about the money, about Walter, about any of it." For a moment, Jaden allowed himself to imagine it, running away together, building a life on love alone. But reality was cruel, and love wasn't always enough. "You deserve better than a life of struggle," he said finally, his heart breaking with each word. "Your father's right. We're from different worlds." As he walked away from Harvard that night, leaving behind his dreams and his heart, neither Jaden nor Anna knew that this wasn't the end of their story, but merely the beginning of a much longer journey. Dallas greeted Jaden with the indifference of a city too busy to care about broken hearts. Armed with only his laptop and determination, he threw himself into the tech world, working days at a startup and coding through sleepless nights. Meanwhile, Anna's engagement to Walter Morrison was splashed across Boston's social pages. "A perfect match," the society columns declared. Only Anna's closest friends noticed how her smile never reached her eyes anymore. What no one could have predicted was how quickly Jaden's innovative coding would catch attention. His algorithm for predictive market analysis wasn't just good, it was revolutionary. Silicon Valley started whispering his name. "Kid, you're sitting on a gold mine," his boss said one day, reviewing his work. "The big tech companies are already asking about you." While Jaden climbed the corporate ladder, Anna discovered the dark side of her perfect marriage. Walter's gambling habits emerged shortly after their honeymoon. First small bets, then larger ones, until entire fortunes were lost in single nights. "You're just like him, aren't you?" Walter sneered one night, drunk and angry after another loss. "Looking down on everyone who isn't perfect. At least I admit my vices." Anna thought often of Jaden during these dark times. Sometimes she Googled his name, watching with pride as his success grew. From startup employee to founder, from founder to tech mogul, his rise was meteoric. "Did you see?" her friend Victoria asked one day, showing her a business magazine. "Jaden Matthew just became the youngest tech billionaire in history." The irony wasn't lost on Anna. The man her father had deemed unworthy had achieved more in 5 years than Walter had in his entire life. But success brought its own kind of loneliness. Jaden's penthouse apartment felt empty, his achievements hollow without someone to share them with. Every woman he met was compared to Anna, and none measured up. One evening, as he stood watching the Dallas sunset from his office window, his assistant brought him interesting news. Rob Harris's company was in trouble, and their shares were up for sale. A plan began forming in Jaden's mind. Perhaps it was time to return to Boston, not as the scholarship student who wasn't good enough, but as someone who could change the game entirely. "Book me a flight to Boston," he told his assistant. "It's time to settle some old scores." The Boston business community buzzed with speculation when Jaden Matthew returned. The young tech genius's presence at the stock exchange sent ripples through the financial world. No one suspected his true motives as he began quietly acquiring shares in Rob Harris's struggling company. "Sir," Rob's assistant interrupted one morning, "you need to see this." The screen showed their company's shares being bought in massive blocks. The buyer's identity was hidden behind shell companies, but the pattern was clear. Someone was orchestrating a takeover. Anna watched from the sidelines as her father's empire began to crumble. Walter's gambling had forced them to sell their own shares months ago, weakening the family's position further. "Your father's company is going under," Walter said almost gleefully one evening. "Maybe now he'll stop acting so superior." The truth revealed itself at the shareholders' meeting. Jaden walked in, commanding the room with quiet confidence. Gone was the nervous scholarship student. In his place stood a man who could buy and sell companies on a whim. "Mr. Harris," Jaden's voice carried across the boardroom, "I believe it's time to discuss new leadership." Rob's face drained of color as he recognized the young man he had once dismissed so easily. The vote was quick and decisive. Rob Harris was out, and Jaden Matthew was in. "This is personal revenge," Rob accused afterward, his voice shaking. Jaden's response was cool and professional. "This is business, Mr. Harris. Something you taught me the hard way." But revenge wasn't Jaden's true motivation. As he implemented changes to save the company, he caught glimpses of Anna in the building, looking more beautiful, but somehow sadder than he remembered. Their paths finally crossed in the elevator one evening. The air crackled with unspoken words as they stood alone together for the first time in years. "You've done well," Anna said softly. "So I've been told." Jaden's voice was gentle, despite everything. As the elevator doors opened, both knew that their story wasn't over yet. The game had changed, but the players remained the same, and the stakes were higher than ever. The revelation about Walter's true nature came at a charity gala, of all places. Drunk and belligerent, he made a scene that shocked even Boston's scandal-hardened elite. Jaden watched from across the room as Anna tried to manage her husband's behavior, her face a mask of practiced calm. "Your husband seems troubled," Jaden said later, finding Anna alone on the balcony. "Troubled is a polite way to put it," she replied, her laugh bitter. "He's gambling away everything, including his father's shares in the company." This information sparked an idea in Jaden's mind. He had always been good at chess, seeing moves ahead. Now the pieces were falling into place. Through discreet channels, he arranged for Walter to receive an offer for his shares, triple their market value. The temptation proved too great for Walter's gambling-addicted mind. "You sold the shares?" Anna confronted her husband days later. "Without consulting anyone?" "For 3 times their worth," Walter boasted, not realizing he'd just sold his only leverage over the Harris family. Meanwhile, Rob Harris was beginning to see things differently. Watching Jaden manage the company with skill and integrity had forced him to confront his own prejudices. "I was wrong about him," he admitted to Anna one evening. "He's not what I thought." "He never was," Anna replied quietly. "You just refused to see it." The truth about many things was finally coming to light, but the biggest revelation was yet to come. Through all the years, through all the success and wealth, neither Jaden nor Anna had ever stopped loving each other. A late-night meeting in Jaden's office would change everything. "Are you happy, Anna?" he asked simply. Her tears answered before her words could. The walls they'd built around their hearts began to crumble, and the truth they'd both known all along could no longer be denied. The game wasn't over yet, but the endgame was finally in sight. All the pieces were in position for one final move. The divorce proceedings sent shockwaves through Boston society. Anna Harris Morrison was leaving her husband, and the whispers began immediately. Some blamed Walter's gambling, others speculated about the timing, coinciding with Jaden's return to Boston. "You can't divorce me," Walter raged when served with the papers. "Think about my family's position, the scandal." But he had already sold his leverage, quite literally, to Jaden's proxy companies. Without his father's shares in the Harris company, he had no power left to wield. Rob Harris, surprisingly, supported his daughter's decision. Years of watching Walter's destructive behavior, combined with witnessing Jaden's leadership, had shifted his perspective dramatically. "I should have seen it sooner," he told Anna. "I was so focused on status that I missed what truly matters." The divorce was finalized quickly, thanks to the considerable resources now at their disposal. Anna felt as though she could breathe freely for the first time in years. During this time, Jaden maintained a respectful distance, focusing on rebuilding the company. But his thoughts were never far from Anna, and he waited patiently for the right moment. That moment came sooner than anyone expected. The pieces had fallen into place, and now it was time for the final act in their long journey. "Your father's in his office," his assistant informed him one morning. Jaden straightened his tie, took a deep breath, and walked in to face his past. The conversation that followed would change everything once again, but this time, for the better. Rob Harris looked up as Jaden entered his office, noting how different this meeting was from their first encounter years ago. The young man before him now carried himself with quiet confidence, earned through years of success and hardship. "Mr. Harris," Jaden began, "I've come to ask for Anna's hand in marriage." The silence that followed seemed to stretch for eternity. Then Rob did something unexpected. He smiled. "I've been waiting for this," he admitted. "I owe you an apology, Jaden. I was wrong about you, wrong about everything." The wedding plans came together quickly. Boston's social circles buzzed with excitement. It was to be the event of the season, a true fairy tale ending. Anna's eyes sparkled with joy as she walked down the aisle, finally marrying the man she had loved all along. The years of separation had only strengthened their bond, making their reunion all the sweeter. Their vows spoke of second chances and enduring love, of patience and persistence, of faith in each other despite all odds. The celebration was magnificent, but the quiet moment they shared during their first dance meant more than all the grandeur combined. "Worth the wait?" Jaden whispered. Anna's answer was in her smile, in her eyes, in the way she held him close. They had come full circle, stronger for the journey. Looking back, it seemed as though every step, every hardship, had led them to this moment. The scholarship student and the billionaire's daughter had found their way back to each other, proving that true love knows no boundaries. The Harris-Matthew merger became legendary in Boston's business circles, not just for its financial success, but for the love story behind it. The company flourished under their combined leadership, with Rob serving as a trusted advisor. Their story became an inspiration, proving that with determination, integrity, and true love, any obstacle could be overcome. The social barriers that had once seemed insurmountable now appeared trivial in hindsight. On quiet evenings, they would sometimes visit their old study spot at Harvard, remembering where it all began. The campus had changed, but their love had remained constant through all the years and challenges. "No one could have predicted this ending," Anna would say, squeezing Jaden's hand. But perhaps someone could have. Anyone who had seen them together in those early days. Anyone who understood that real love transcends all boundaries. Their journey had come full circle, from a chance meeting in a Harvard classroom to a love that conquered all odds. It wasn't just a story of romance, but of perseverance, growth, and the triumph of true character over superficial values. And so their tale became legend, whispered in Harvard's halls and Boston's boardrooms, a reminder that sometimes, just sometimes, love truly conquers all.